Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is Friday afternoon, and this is the homepage update and overview for week 3. So I'm recording this in preparation for the materials about Aristotle. Just to summarize week 2, we talked about the pre-Socratics and then we jumped forward to Plato. The pre-Socratics gave us the concept of the schools of thought, the related bodies of learning and approaches to problem solving. They gave us observations about the natural world. They began the process of observing contradictions and patterns that occurred in the natural world, concepts like aging and decay and retrograde motions. They gave us the idea of the dialogue as a means of moving towards fact and truth and establishing the idea that one way of thinking is superior to another. They gave us the fundamentals of a system of logic to investigate problems and ask questions. They gave us Epicureanism, which gave us atomism, which gave us sort of a poetic and philosophical basis for um, the idea that the world is composed of molecules and atoms. And the pre-Socratic, um, I guess, the pre-Socratic influence really culminates in Lucretius's De Rerum Natura, which we didn't look at closely. I wish we would have had time to look at it more so in more depth. Um, that was written sometime before his death in either 55 or 49 BC. The De Rerum Natura is a work with an interesting backstory behind it as well. If you look at the Stephen Greenblatt clips, he talks there about how this work was copied and disseminated and then lost to history for almost 1,500 years and then rediscovered by accident in the year 1417 and then reread and translated and unveiled to the public and became influential again almost 1,500 years later, over 1,500 years later. So interesting stuff. This week we deal with Aristotle, the philosopher who was influential for almost 2,000 years. You've got some excellent resources, which I'll talk about in just a second. Aristotle's a lot like Plato. He made philosophical contributions in matters relating to psychology and economy and physics and ethics and politics, literature. His writings are still widely read on those subjects, and he had a pretty broad range of interests beyond hard science. As a scientist, however, he is recognizable. Probably he's been credited as being the founder, the father of the science of biology. He is also an astronomer of a geocentric bent like Plato, and he's also been credited as being a student of anatomy as well. So he is very much a jack of all trades, and his works are still read in a variety of contexts. Your readings this week are taken from a series of works that deal with matters of logic and analytics, and they're collectively there's about 7 of them that deal with problem solving. They're called the organon or the instrument. And it's really think of that collection of works as an apparatus for solving problems, for understanding natures, for um, understanding the world in fuller terms. And so the instrument is one of Aristotle's great contributions to the history of science. Just a few quick thoughts about reading Aristotle. You've got some excellent clips, like I mentioned, All of them are good. All of them are worth looking at to get a good introduction to Aristotle. There's one that compares Aristotle and Plato, or I think there are two of them that compare Aristotle and Plato. Both are quite helpful. In addition to Hank Green, who I mentioned by name earlier in the semester, you're going to meet this week another commentator named Tom Ritchie, whose clips are also very helpful for our purposes. So you'll recognize him talking about the differences between Plato and Aristotle. The clips about the four causes and the one that distinguishes deductive from inductive reasoning are also quite helpful. Again, the readings this week are from the Organon, and they seek to offer a structure or a means for solving problems or resolving contradictions in the field of natural philosophy. Just very quickly, I urge patience in your reading. These readings deal with abstractions. There's not a lot to fasten on to in terms of factual information. They are among Aristotle's most opaque and difficult, but they are on the shorter side. They're difficult to penetrate because he's talking about abstractions and intangibles like causes and natures and things of that sort. So it's okay if you don't grasp Aristotle's points and arguments fully with a first reading. The important thing is to read Aristotle and to have that experience, and we will talk about that in class next week. Do take note of tangible details, things to fasten on to. For example, he talks about seeds and he talks about teeth, their causes, their roles in the functioning of living organisms, and so these are some examples to fasten on to. So I've gone on a little bit longer than I thought I would. I will stop there. Hope this introduction is helpful, and I will see you in class for week 3 next Wednesday. Good luck and enjoy your reading.